While we're looking at legislation, we're going to touch briefly on something we'll unpack to a greater extent in Module 3 when we're looking at assessment and validation. But what I want you to do is just to hit Control-click on this purple link here, and that will actually bring you through to this web page. And it talks about Standard 2. Okay, we're now moving away from Standard 1 and we're looking at Standard 2, and there's a question about this coming up shortly. So the answer is going to be Standard 2 for you. Okay, so we're looking at clauses 2.1 and 2.2 as opposed to that 1.13 and 1.14 where we looked at your qualifications as a trainer. Now we're looking at quality assurance. Okay, so here there's going to be lots of different processes that your registered training organisation will have in place. They're going to provide you with their policy manual to show you how they're going to meet these legislative standards and how they're going to tick all of ASQA's boxes in their audits. So quality indicator data, they have to produce this from their training records annually, and that's about competency completion rates. There's a few different things there. That's more on an RTO level, but you have to be a high quality trainer and assessor to ensure that your learners don't drop out of your course. Okay, now then it talks about validation outcomes. So validation, as I said, we'll get into in Module 3, and we'll just unpack that a little bit more here. So as a trainer and assessor, you have to provide feedback to your RTO. If there's a training product that is out of date, that you know that there's a more current industry standard or current tool in your industry or current practice, you need to validate these training products. Okay, your RTO will come to you and say, listen, we're running some validation, we're just checking the currency of the training products, or we want to have a look at the quality of the assessment tools that we're using. Are they user-friendly? You know, do you understand the assessor guidelines? Or they may actually take some samples of your assessing work, and one term for that is moderating, where they'll just get another assessor to offer an independent judgment about whether they think that the evidence presented from your candidate was satisfactory or not yet satisfactory, or whether the evidence as a whole for the unit has met the rules of evidence. And we'll, as I said, we unpack a lot of that more throughout this module and into Module 3. So this Standard 2, this quality assurance, ties in a lot with your involvement with your RTO, with their validation processes, with your feedback, you understanding that you've got to be offering this current and high quality training, that it is possible that your learners may complain, and you've got to go back to your RTO's policy manual and understand what's the complaints process with your RTO. What about if they want to make an appeal to something you're assessing and say that they believe that the evidence is satisfactory, whereas you say it's insufficient and you want more? They have a right to appeal your assessment judgment back to the RTO first. So by referring to your policy manual that the RTO provides you with, you will see the processes, you'll see the person that you need to refer these types of matters onto. So that's how the responsibilities of your RTO to have a policy manual, to have procedures in place, to have these types of validation processes and appeals processes. You need to be having these conversations with your RTO if they haven't had them with you at the time of induction. So again, what we have just been focusing on here is quality assurance, and that's in regard to Standard 2. The operations of the RTO are quality assured.